Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Heads Will Roll event in which the Executioner is added to the game, so let's get into that. As far as the trait stone that it comes with, it is a red-green. You would mainly use this for a Merilift second trait earlier on in the game, and later on you would want to go and use it for a Yagway to go get him fully traded so he can keep stealing life. But as far as this troop, he is a executioner, but he's pretty bad at executing. He has just some standard damage into a 10% chance to instant kill, which is obviously very, very, very low. It's basically like a cheap version of Lady Mirana, which is already pretty weak as well. So not really much use that's going to get other than the fact that it is the lowest rarity instant kill in the game. But now that Gluttony exists, you're pretty much just going to use Gluttony if you ever need that. Of course, Gluttony doesn't work against things that have immune to Devour, but still, this is so low that you're never really going to use it. And the point at which you would get this troop, in which you might actually consider using him, you don't even need to deal with Impervious, so you could easily just go with a Devour option instead of instant kill. So essentially, bottom line, he is useless. One interesting combination he does have, though, is he can gain Enrage when an enemy dies into a Death Mark. This will allow him to Death Mark things that are immune to Death Mark as long as they don't have immune to stun. So it has that going for it, so it can get Death Mark onto undeads, as well as just anything with warded. But other than that, that's about the only thing he really has going towards him. There's a few various extremely luck-based instant kill options, and something you would almost never use other than for the bonus this week. So as far as all the bonuses, there's 10% to all Darkstone, as well as 10% to all humans, which is a pretty good number of the troops within the Darkstone kingdom. As far as this guy, if you use him in PvP or Explore, most likely Explore, you'll end up gaining 40 souls, and the main reason for that is it is an Explore week. All you have to do is just go and explore in any kingdom that has a bunch of green in it, and you'll be able to go and accumulate all the event gems while also farming a bunch of souls, and you can easily just do that in somewhere like Forest of Thorns or any other location that has a high concentration of green. You can either do it with something like this, or simply go and throw in the Executioner and put it into something like second slot, and just go Firebomb into Sunbird into basically instant win, and just clean up with your Executioner or your War and Peace, or really just about anything else that you want to go use. But if we go and put the Executioner in there, and it will make it go a little bit slower, but we'll end up getting our half mana. We can also end up replacing out our hero if we weren't using a hero that we're specifically getting EXP on at a given moment in time. But we'll just do this, throw a nice Firebomb into it, and by the end of the battle, we'll get a free 40 souls on top of all the other loot. So this isn't going to be enough to kill. It's going to get Sunbird up, and then we kill everything with Sunbird. And as you can see, we end up getting 40 additional souls, and apparently a Celestial Trait Stone. Very lucky. But yeah, it's just an extra 40 souls per battle if you choose to do it that way. And every single green we end up killing counts as event gems towards the objective for the week. So, as far as keys this week, are event keys worth doing it? Yes and no. Oddly enough, I'd say yes if you're in early game, no, or mid game, and no otherwise. There isn't really anything too exceptionally good within this kingdom except maybe Scion for the most part. But the main reason why it would actually be worth it to consider doing it is if you are close to, but not currently at, 5-star Darkstone. It's one of the easiest kingdoms to get to 5-star in the entire game, and that's pretty relevant because it has a magic bonus, and magic is the best stat that you can ever get from any of the kingdoms when it gives you a +1. So it's definitely highly advised to go get this thing to level 5 if you haven't already, as it will give you that extra +1 skill bonus, which for this particular kingdom is a +1 magic. Unfortunately, it is stuck at level 8. I believe it can be up to like level 12, almost 13 by now. So it might also be worth considering, since we don't know exactly when a hero class might be coming for this kingdom, in order to allow it to upgrade a lot further. You might want to consider getting some of your Darkstone stuff to Mythic, or a little bit closer if you're in late game. I managed to do that for absolutely everything, just made sure that they were all capped out, just in case, because you never know, it could be in like several months from now. We'll just go and get a hero class for that, and then boom, it'll just shoot up to like 5 times more stars, or not that many, 5 more stars I should say, or somewhere around there. So is worth considering, either or, but definitely get at least 2 5-stars, specifically the first initial 5 stars, as you'll end up getting that extra stat if you haven't already done that already. And if you need more troops, you can either go get them from the event keys, or you can get them from the All-Seeing Eye, as all 4 of the All-Seeing Eye troops from these portals count as Darkstone troops, so do keep that in mind. Anyways, as far as the raids, we have just the standard new weapon as well as a new little troop. New troop is pretty irrelevant, as most of them are. Where's the little thingy for him? There he is. So, nothing really too special other than that he gets a adjacent silence. This can be somewhat okay given his mana cost. It's only 12 and you can get a double silence off of this. Obviously, if you're hitting the boss, it's only going to do 1 silence if you hit adjacent, because the boss will be in 4th slot, so you're only going to silence 3rd. But if the boss finally dies and you go and hit this onto like 2nd slot, well, it will then silence 1st and 3rd. So it could be somewhat potentially okay as far as a troop outside of the actual event. But more often than not, like all of these raids and evasion troops, that's not really going to happen because it has almost nothing that functions outside of it other than it's stealthy, which isn't really too relevant. Well, I guess it is slightly, because it will allow you, if you are up against a Zugoff, for this to live a little bit longer to outlive the Zugoff, since it will never directly single target this, because it can't single target it unless it gets stunned. So at least that will help it specifically against the boss, if nothing else. As far as the weapon, is a little bit underwhelming if we go under troops and go under weapon. I was hoping it would get slightly better perks, but it didn't. Oops, that's not where you find it. Actually, yeah, it is. We can just go under Darkstone. That should bring it up immediately. So many Darkstone weapons, but let's go and this weapon. So it steals, or does damage to an enemy, and it steals half their attack. So steal as in you actually accumulate that. So if they have 100 attack, you steal 50, or they get reduced by 50, and you gain 50. This is not higher than what a Mang would do. Mang would still gain a lot more attack, but you have to keep in mind the factor that you're also reducing it from the enemy. Other than that, it's one of those kind of weapons that does get the max amount of attack, which is a plus 7 starting attack, since he gets attack on every single one, except for one, which is just the extra plus 4 armor. Other than that, it basically has a bunch of reductions, a bunch of things that end up hitting 1st slot, all 3 of them, and then it ends up exploding a single purple, which could end up giving you a little bit of mana, could end up giving you some board, but for the most part, that's not going to be enough. If it had another one of these, I'd probably consider it. But just one little explosion like that is not going to make it better than a Mang. So we still stick with Mang. It's still superior, especially since it doesn't use brown. I'd almost sooner use Black Managore or something than the Blood Drinker. But maybe in some instances where reducing the enemy's attack is really relevant, it could come into play. But this Raids is definitely not one of those, nor is almost anything else that currently exists. There's just no really good purpose at the moment for it. But anyways, let's go into the actual boss thing. So I'm going to show 2 teams, both of them pretty similar. We'll start off with this one. This is obviously being the slightly more expensive team, mainly because it uses Dawnbringer while simultaneously using Titan. So essentially what we're going to just do immediately is get this little guy up in 1st slot, get Dawnbringers down whenever we can. If we happen to get this guy, throw it at the boss and pretty much just one-shot it or multi-shot it or kill it with AoE off of Dawnbringer. And just keep repeating the cycle. This will get rid of all the attack on 1st slot, and don't really need to deal with that, or not all of the attack, but at least a good number of it. We also have a Summoner as a backup. The Summoner not only summons, but also creates us Vital Reds, which we need for literally every other troop on our team. And yeah, it just works out really nice. We can see that that one's not silenced at the moment. If we want, we can go silence it by doing this. And then boom, it gets silenced. We'll throw a nice little Dawnbringer on it, and that is essentially a match. Just need to go get one skull. It's just sitting right there for us, and down it goes. That's pretty much what I've been doing for all my battles so far, and how I plan to do probably all of them. But if you need something ever so slightly cheaper, we can just go and use the almighty Mang and go put it in there, get our hero replaced, and then replace the other one with a, I forget what he's called. I know his colors though. And, oh, no wonder why. There he is. And the Watch Mother, if we put that in there, we'll be able to use that for a HP gain, as well as a Summoner. We now have 2 Summoners. We have Corrupt Sorceress, which ends up creating a bunch of reds for us, and does either Anointed one or a Remnant. And we have this one who's going to summon either the Oclarian, which is the thing we had earlier, or the Oclarian Leech, or the Oclarian, or the Oclarian... Wait, never mind. It's just called Oclarian. I thought it had a Oclarian something. My bad. But anyways, one of them just hits the 2 lowest and denies out all of the browns, which can be a little bit annoying. And the other one is more useful, which is the Leech I was using in the other one, which ends up stealing attack and does a few explosions. Nonetheless, it'll still give you HP to help survive some, and it still has that summon to combat the boss. But anyways, we'll switch our banner. Probably just do a solid +2 brown. I don't think we need any of the -purple banners or anything else as far as the mana for us. We mainly just need to get Mang up as immediately as possible and then kind of just go from there. And none of the +2/+1s I don't believe would work better. And we're going to need to take a lot of browns anyways, given the concept of this team. But we'll take this over. We do have a Valraven sitting right there. Obviously, we want to make sure we dispose of those as quickly as we possibly can every single time we see them. Unfortunately, with this current board, we have nothing to go do that with, but we'll go get some mana. Hopefully get a... did we take the skull? I think we actually wait on it. So he's going to probably take that other skull. It's going to gain barrier, so it's not going to be an issue. I almost want to hit him with this, but it's not going to be enough damage. but I do definitely need it to go down, so we will actually go and excessively overkill it right here by doing that, and now we get the Valraven kill. We'll then go and take the right over, go take a nice skull on it, and take another skull. And normally we would be up to one-shot range, but we ended up making sure we killed out the Valraven, which is definitely important. Definitely don't want it escaping, that's for sure. So just take that brown, start getting that up again to get our attack value to something high, so we can go and one-shot the boss right here. Take that over, maybe he won't go for it. Probably not even going to need that summon. It's mainly just there as a backup, more so than anything. The only bad thing about this is the raid troop does get blocked a lot. Not much that we can really do about that, unfortunately, unless you were to just go not use Mang and maybe just use Mountain Crusher or something. Of course, you would go for my one summoner, but that's why we have two summoners. Now, Corrupt Sorceress can go and resummon into that location if we needed more of a team, and we can outlive a lot of his hits. There's quite a few summoners within this kingdom, so you definitely don't have a lack of summoning if you need to go and replenish your team for any reason. But yeah, those are the two teams I'm mainly going to be using, or the first team is mainly the team I'll be using for raids, but there's still some other alternatives, just running a Mang as your main utility. Anyways, as far as other things, we have ourselves a faction event for what's oddly enough for the actual faction of Darkstone. It is the All-Seeing Eye faction, which connects to Darkstone. What's funny right now is I have the Darkstone pet sitting right here. That's not actually the pet coming this Wednesday, though. The pet this Wednesday is going to be the new Brown Mastery one. I say new, it came in with version 4.0. Some of you may still not have seen it yet, so it'll be the first time you'll be able to get that. But that'll be this Wednesday. Thursday will be for the Death Knight hero class, which is the Undead Golvania one. It used to be considered a knight, but it's now considered undead as of a few weeks ago. I think it was last patch or something, but that ended up changing. And this Friday, we are getting new faction. We're getting the 4th new faction coming into the game, bringing in four new troops for the Merlantis Kingdom. So we're going to have that. Other than that, we have Soulforge. So, Soulforge, anything relevant this week? Not really. We have Famine, and that's about it, pretty much. Famine is... There's other alternatives to Famine now, which is kind of nice. For example, the Common of Sloth is basically a 10 mana cost version of Famine that only uses one colors, but has the downside of... not really having much of a follow-up. Also, the fact that it drains your entire team. But if you use a Sloth with an entire team of immune to mana drain, then it ends up working out pretty nicely. But Famine doesn't have that restriction. Plus, it has enough mana accumulation that you can put this into a lot of Guild War days. You can use this in any kind of team where you just need one of these manas and you're doing a bunch of explosions, just have him absorb them, and he can just kind of constantly keeping the enemy down. What it does is it drains all enemies every single time it casts, and then does a really high concentration of single target damage based on how much mana it ends up draining. So if you end up draining 40 mana, that's additional 80 damage, which would be 104 right there with how high we currently have him. He also has a interesting reduced stat every single turn, which can come into play occasionally. It might not seem like much, but in longer battles, as well as on defend teams, it tends to get used quite a bit. It can start to stack up a lot of reduction onto the enemy team, and could potentially help you to win in certain circumstances. But overall, it's mainly just used for a really heavy mana drain in contexts where you need to cover a lot of ground as far as color is concerned. But still, really nice mythic. It's not one of the absolute highest, probably still top 10 though. But it doesn't really help you win quickly, but it helps you win consistently, is mainly what I would consider a Famine. So it's more of a Guild War kind of troop than something you would constantly run in PvP, just because you'd want to have quicker and stronger PvP options. But anyways, that is everything that I wanted to go over. There's not really any point in showing any kind of Executioner teams, just because the only thing you'd ever really run it with is just running it right into Explore and just quickly winning with it. And that's about it, because... using this realistically in a team is not viable. Even in early game, I would not advise it. You'd be much better off spending your time doing the event objective this week and getting the things done in Explorer, and that's about it. But yeah, he's one of those kind of dead content troops that, like many of the raids and invasions, you would never end up using again after this given week. You farm up Explorer a little bit. Let's go get one more hit. Okay, we'll go cast him once. I haven't actually managed to get a cast on him. But it's not like it does anything special. It just does that. He gains his Enrage, and he can place some Death Marks like anything else that places Death Mark whenever it does a Skull. So we'll go kill it with Sunbird here. And that'll be that. And we'll get like 3 Event Gems, because this kingdom has a lot of green in it. 2 of them, actually. But there we go. Anyways, guys, if you have any other questions or anything you want me to go over, feel free to leave in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone!